Thank you very much, the Honorable Chief Minister. And now, it's my pleasure for invite the President for making talk so now we invite for His Excellency the President.
Thank you very much. The Chief Minister, Father Minister Dewede, and senior advisors, the Inter-Religious Council, the welcome in our State House this afternoon, and for continued engagement, what we don't do. We all witnessed a very violent eruption where it disturbed with peace and quiet last week. It not only surprised we, but it also threw away through the window, which we don't work for, very hard peace and security of this country. A mind-boggling and unnecessary winner as a group we get vested interest in the security and peace of this country. We don't make so much contribution for make we sit down and talk about this. We look at them and we get our own conclusions, but not we no more get this country. We did before, we did lead, but we not maybe get a different lens with which we now look at this situation. So yesterday, I don't begin engage different segments of our society for make understand what's in happen, and for make we talk about what we go do, we go make this not happen again. So at the welcome when to this meeting, that not the purpose. On the 10th of August, we don't get plenty news say people they want for come out for protest against maybe the cost of living when have been the proposed objective. But we see people then come out and very quickly plenty people come in and die. Policemen they included. Ordinary people. The whole country, people then begin run all over. The whole world says Salon they on fire again. Of course, the damage which this don't cause, it could take a very long time for we take them away from the public light. Because not to like force happen, sometimes 2-3 people they no more they record them. Today, I will tell you say millions of people get the video, the audio, where we compare Sierra Leonean, they see another compare Sierra Leonean, he kill him, he not satisfied, he so vexed by the body, he dey chop him, he dey burn him. That is food for thought. That is mind-boggling. That not something where Mr. the try for still digest say, we be done that kind of picture then they will be done saying a thing of the past. We not go ever allow ourselves for deteriorate again. We will go hate one another. But for person we wear uniform in your own business, now for protect lives and property. Now you compete, now your livelihood, now state function, they perform for the good, general good of society. For make you see them, and you see it in that symbolic close when a government game. For make you kill and that kind of way they, I think say not seen that one day way really surprised me. Nearly 20 years after we declared this war done. Because this is a big thing to me, and that make a talk say maybe when I say we need for consider on talk. How will I see this? Waiting on your own idea and how what we go do for make sure say we prevent them kind here for making it happen. We young country, a small country, the whole world they in serious problem. Not for can kill policeman or for can kill other person for burn the few things we would try for bill for make a society work, go solve them problem. All country in the world, they don't face high prices if they continue for rise. some country there where millions of people then die because of COVID. This country, people do not die reach 300 per COVID. Country there, we all know say the petrol price don't go up. Outside, we know they produce petrol. Rest with the important. Because outside they come out far, because of the disruption and the ship business for Brian Cam, down the back in price don't go up. We get too many problems there. The war within Ukraine, it don't make add to all the blame problems that we don't talk about. It don't just make life don't become difficult for everybody. So this don't lead to hardship. The ordinary person, what you been get first, where they make you able live, you not do today. What do? We not sit down and fool we earn as a government. We say this kind here we need for make sure say we cushion the effect so that we young people they not go suffer too much from this. Everything where they can inside this country, normally you get a tax where they pay duty. We don't waive all of them on a day for any essential commodity. From where the COVID starts, we not tap at that one day. We say if you dare make it available, we provide billions, 500 billion, I think at the very first time, to the Bank of Sierra Leone. Say make this money available in a facility so that sugar, rice, oil, and their other essential, yabas, dentin, and the tomato, enough for done at this country. We don't do all of that one day. During COVID, we would affect COVID. We stopped when all countries there, they've been getting what they call lockdown. They locked down for 1 month, some man for 2 weeks, waiting. The Master Sabi people there, where they call epidemiologists, been telling us for do at least 2 weeks for me break. We will say now, we they disobey them and they for make sure say we take care of the population. We not go able to lock with people there for 2 weeks. But I remember say now only 2 of them kind lockdown we've been do for 2 days, 3 days, and then we open. We keep we borders them closed, we keep the surveillance on, and we make sure say plenty people they not die panda this COVID. Before even we do that one day. We fair money, we shape now this country. And this you not just grab with the go side me people then they know. All over the country. Cash transfers. They don't register them as these are some of the poorest homes. They're not to individual. Now homes there. We shape that one day. We say with the disabled people there, we identify who said then we give them something. Just for make sure see where with the lockdown, make them get something for it. Now, then see government they do for make sure say you people they not suffer from waiting don't come. We not able we do our best for control the COVID and waiting they happen where they call the international economic crisis. Since we not able to stop them, what we go able to do for protect we own? Now that we don't they do. All the money, all we tax them, we can make money can to government. We will spend for other things there. For make sure the schools then continue, salaries then pay, the government self they run. We don't take that one day. We know they get it again. This na Kumbra government, this na Kumbra attitude. You know, say Kumbra, if trouble they can save, if na in hand they go put them, I like down they go once in picking save. This we don't they do. So where this it don't reach this point now, it definitely not possible for make government everything we for do for protect we don't do them. But there's a limit. If trouble they can limit the way they protect you picking said before yourself them pull you and the picking go feel them. There is hardship. Is there hardship? Yes. Now, no more? No. Government don't do something? Yes. Plenty in there. I don't just name some of them. So when we see this kind of situation, and people they say they want come from protest, we advise say this the kind way where the angry day, the kind way where things they don't difficult, make we manage, make we not allow people to come, because a group can say one come out, but you know other people then they will get bad intention. You go come out, it might be hold you placard. The other one then go come out, then get cutlass, then get this, then get different intention. So although people then come out, they say being cost of living, then nobody even talk about cost of living. Now for me, Mother Beer must go. Small about them, it is say they organize, then get and sing, Mother Beer must go. So that take me to the other side. Politics in this country, it been always opaque. You didn't know when election they come, you not get a certain date. 4 months ago, I don't show date for election. The last time, now 11 years we do now this country, we will not say now 10 years we do before we change the government. Because steadily, then if 1 year, 11 years, me, no can I have for can't time or money. I come for make life better. 3-4 months ago, I don't show the date, 24th of June next year with the whole presidential and general elections. So, if really you get good intention for this country, you want me Mother Biogo, you only get 10 more months. You don't be here with them for 4 years. How many months? You don't need for can kill person. You don't need for can burn. You don't even need for shout, because the shouting not they reduce the fear in price. We the make sure say available, and that price as it go down small now the world market. We the even make sure say we own people that I suffer. The one day when they sell, we the force them for put them down. Now only this government don't do it. So we don't do everything. Waiting happen that day, we will see. We compete and come out and kill other people then. The manner killing itself is so awful and should not be part of we, especially after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We don't say never again. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission make plenty of recommendations. For the past 20 years, they have not been implemented. We don't almost implement all. Because we mean peace for this country. We are not lock any space. Political space is open. Parliament with the same bill, it take 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Then they debate. That is democracy. For open the space, free speech, the seditious libel law. We don't pull on our book. Man, nobody no afraid say me go tell you say this now that and hang something cool na aid or treason na aid, then just kill them. The death penalty we don't pull her. This the show say we get true and genuine intention for this country. And democracy presupposes say when me and you say na this I want, me say na this I want, the time they come we will make that decision. The great weapon we will get, none of that ballot paper will then they give you. What you want, you vote for. What you want, you not vote for. Now that make other society there quiet and peaceful, and that make democracy is seen as an instrument of peace. Democracy and violence, they're not for the one side. Because democracy is meant to prevent that. Not to what you all want. We're not in grip on the same team. But if the majority agrees, then so will they go. In a democracy, we'll go with them. Even if not by point. We don't see what happen in Kenya. They say they still struggle with democracy. 50.4 and 48.1. whatever it is. So democracy is meant to take violence away. The majority na then go prevail. If we say we don't pass that one day, we don't forget about them. But we are just being rudely reminded on the 10th of August, say, we still get people we believe say when they want something, they forget them, and we all for sit down, then because they decide for use violence. Instead of can say this kind of discussion, like how the chief minister say, every opportunity, and 3 weeks ago, I think I've been doing it now, if memory serves me right, we will sit down. Of course, where they go round, are they going to a village there? They sleep in a village there. Freetown is not a Sierra Leone. They go far places there, inside this country. Every time I say when I beer, now this they happen at the world. We cannot change it. We don't reach we limit as to what we can do for cushion the effect. We cannot change it. Everybody the effect, if rest not come, we have get some blame yonder. Look the kind of rain. For the past 3 days in the rain. Some country there one rain not drop there. We get plenty swamp, we get plenty wet itself. If today we not get food, now import with the importer, now because of your own fault. Rest there. Now people then they plant on the other side, and they go inside that poto, then take machine, then bake and they clean, they put on a ship. Salomon want where the rest reach now, yeah. Mother be for say no, China down arrest the so na for sell na ya. It cannot work. So we get a very serious situation on our hands. And we're not a force for reckon with, we don't show goodwill, when our contribution to the present peace is documented and recorded very well. So, waiting happen, it take we all by surprise. Besides the thing the world don't do inside this country, I want for Mekuna no say, Salon today, in the past short 4 years, we don't clean Salon. We don't put on at the world stage. We say that country will not be sabi for all them bad things that we saw with the chap, with the cut people the truth. Now different country. Now a place where you can come invest. Now a place where you can come live. Today, we camp our education. We not go before you too, but they recognize the effort. Say, this country, they mean business. This government, it mean business. To the point that when they want discourse what they call transforming education. When a world forum, even up to the UN, now Salon then choose me for co-chair with the UN Secretary General. When a meeting where get for take place, where UNESCO, where they in charge, where even when they do the first meeting, before that meeting, Abnamina be the only head of state where attend for co-chair with the UNESCO Director General. As a small nation, we power, Nabina, we aid Ibn Day. Let them say, Faustin, a scholar from Sierra Leone, he was accepted, he or she was accepted anywhere in the world without any iota of doubt. Today, that is not the case. We don't lost that power. We don't lost that position because we let education drop below ground level. We don't pick her up. We struggle with them. We need resources. We need everybody for more hasten back. We don't just start. COVID come. We not let go. Resources not there, but every month we make sure say everybody is paid. We pay with subvention. Someday they can delay because the only way to make way they delay now because resources are scarce. I don't tell when I say this, the tax they all over collect. We don't left them for make people they not suffer, ordinary people there. So forget that money they for make sure say all teacher there. Even when teacher they say, no we increase. I say, down the young. lot of us say no wonder, but in a day, we want for increase them, but it's so that we will not only provide access to education, but quality education by making sure that the teachers are motivated and ready to teach our kids. Gender and women empowerment. We watch that one day. If we go to the UN floor or international fora, they may see how then they talk about Salon. They move out on do. We are now totally in a different class. Before the 10th of August, an independent assessment puts Leone as the fourth most peaceful country in Africa. Not to be talking, the MCC rate we from where we made this country at 47%, now so that be the grade per corruption. Now, because of a strong anti-corruption stance, we are 83%. These are some of just the few things there. We did take care of over 2.5 million people them. Because we not go make progress if we not make sure say the education we want is inclusive. Inclusive for make sure say them picking them. Whether you are a teacher picking, police picking, poor man picking, farmer, you get access to education. The same women picking they get access to a salon. So we then talk about radical inclusion. Now for make sure say that person where is not able, be disabled, we can call them. You're not serious. We then make sure say now you get better, you know they use it as an excuse. As they don't die, you better, you go back to school. Because at the end of the day, now liability, so we the fight for many not get better. But if you get better, we the make sure say we support you for go school as long as possible. And when you done, you go back to school. This Kamakwe where they jump so. The last time we go there, now that the chief can talk say, he said the last exam where they take, he said all them picking away being get better, we go school. He said they do extremely well. We will help them for go back to school. So, just as soon as I can see, I not get paper before me. The one that way I don't remember what we don't do. In 4 short years under COVID, where the whole world is in turmoil, you go anywhere. I've been there in London the day where this happened. They don't increase energy price by 45%. They cannot stop it. This is not the first country then, now that we can go back to. We see they're not able to stop them. Who said that they get the gas? Russia say at the close day. So there is problem around the world. This is not the making of this government. Bad financial decisions or economic decision policies and all of this. No. In fact, when you compare what's in the happen now, and other side, you go see say we don't really do extremely well. Why are they do all of this? Now, for me, we know say, in as much as things they had, this government means well and has done well and should not be subjected to this sort of thing. The country of itself, ordinary people. Even time when I be the rush for go, everybody they worry, waiting they happen next. That trauma, we don't need that for this population. After 20 years, after 11 years of civil war, we don't say now, if me and you, we make blabber, make we not solve them by violence. That is what democracy is about. That day come, nobody know for touch, you go. I don't want this again. Now this was I want. That is what it's about. So, for make this happen, it comes as a surprise. And we need need for think about them and really what is wrong. What can we do to prevent it? And this time around, I'm not able to scan outside. I'm not hearing from the Interreligious Council yet. I don't know if I don't come up. Yes? And I've not been supplied with that information. Because we are the biggest partners, in my opinion, with the woman to peace in this country. Your contribution is documented, even in academia, as to what you want to do for make peace come back in this country. Of course, even with that one day, some monkey they try for make like say, Mother Bio not make any contribution. The peace process would never have started without Fode Sanko sitting on the table. For 5 bloody years, we were groping in the dark. In all day, now lied and the lie. There is no Fode Sanko. He is dead. In 3 months, I make him a duty, national duty. I left this country. But me pass when they talk. I go to my company head of state them. I locate Fode Sanko and bring him come out of the bush. That was how we started the peace talk. It would never, you cannot talk peace if you don't have an interlocutor. That was the beginning. I was on the verge of leaving, but I made sure I brought him out of the bush so that when I go see, where Branca again, they say a lie. Where me in the talk, they say a lie. Now other person they talk to. Where Branca again, they say, yeah, the 2 fevers on 10 in post himself. This is how difficult we are as a nation. But for some of God don't give you this task because you can only get here by the power of God. There's no other way. Let I make Akin lock me yesterday. And they plenty talk several that they say that they talk. And because of that, because we all they see it happen. Even when this don't happen, we know say big people than they. When they use this politics, use this for kind of power. But the election date is 24th. One kind of power, clearly laid down procedures, the processes are ongoing. But if we not say the truth where it matters and when it matters, then things they happen. Because we pay more attention to politics than development as a nation. We have become so polarized, so political, that the beauty, we will not show on this side, Muslims and Christians sitting on the same side, we don't witness, as stiff as we are, the Catholic Church, the Imam, the Timabna, we alter, he hold the Bible for Father, may Father reader, Father old Quran for Imam, for may reader. If we get down in our politics, Salon go shoot up in development like no country in the world. We have done it so beautifully well. On politics, on the side of politics, we are doing so awful. And that the development no go come about when we really do them the way we do them. So, I want to get the pulpit there. Your voices are strong. You are influencers. We recognize and acknowledge that and that we don't call it. What is going wrong again? And how can we set it straight so that Salon will go before? So the land that we love, we will show and love by developing it so that we all did it, irrespective of which color, because the color we believe in this country, we go enjoy the public good. So, men of God, now this make we call una. Plenty thing there for talk. But this one, it's just mind-boggling. And I feel say, una way God can talk to directly, for make una help we, for make we sort this out, and for make we speak to society. There's a better way to do politics, even if we choose politics as the preoccupation. We all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that will be very touching opening remarks from the president, but like the president saying also one for a formula. So the way we could do we be done engaged with the religious leaders them, we will get contributions them. We'll get one from Most Reverend Dr. Edward Samba Charles, we will start, and that will be followed by Sheikh Alhaji Ibrahim Bari. So we will start with the President of the Inter-Religious Council, when Most Reverend Dr. Edward Samba Charles.
Your Excellency, honorable ministers present here, my colleague religious leaders, advisors to the President, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of my fellow religious leaders, I tell the President, Boku thank you, we invite we for engage we in conversation on the issue of violence on the 10th of August and for seek we advice on the way forward. Tell you, Beku, thank you for that. We'll also tell you thank you where you recognize not only today, not only because of the incidents of the 10th of August, but also on other occasions where you recognize the vital role of religious leaders in the affairs of this nation. We tell you, Boku, thank you for that. Do not waste time. I want to say, Inter-Religious Council, now one of the first groups, we issue a press statement condemning the incident on the 10th of August. And appealing to the government to investigate and bring to book all the perpetrators. We press release come out on the 11th of August. In it, we express sadness about the fact that this incident here happened. Very tragic, causing the death of so many of our fine policemen, and even with compatriots on the other side, we believe they're part of the demonstration. Barely a week and a half of intensive prayer and fasting by the religious leaders of this country. We mentioned that now we press release, and we call for dialogue in favor of lasting peace and stability and eventually of development in our land. So we issue something, but like all press releases, even the ones issued by religious leaders are often not heard all over. Which brings me to the first issue. We want to tell you, Boku Tenki, Mr. President, for where you take we through all the efforts where you don't make as president or where your government don't make regarding the state of affairs of this country, for stabilize them, for improve on the well-being of your citizens. I want to tell you, Boku, thank you for that. And no one rehearse all of that which you talk. And many of us are aware of it. But not all. So there is a very strong, serious issue about communication. The people then they say you talk to hate, if you to say, is day for a ray. So my point is how we will make sure say what in the government they do, including the president, they reach to the last person at the grassroots level. A couple of weeks ago, we go to the Ministry of Information and take you through the dynamics of the high cost of fuel, what is responsible for it, etc., etc. Some of it we know because we follow the world news. For other areas, we not be eye opener for we. For example, a land that's Sierra Leone still there under the category of one of the risk countries, which is affecting the price of goods brought here. They also inform we say, as you don't acknowledge, that prices they go up because of their factors. But our brothers and sisters down the road, many of them don't know that. And I give you a very concrete example. And they left me house this afternoon. I said, President, don't call me for meeting and tell me cook. What do you want to tell her if he asks me for say something? I said, tell him say, the cost of living high, the price are high. Let's introduce price control. That's what my cook said. And that's what many people are saying. But I take time for tell and say, if President introduced price control, the first thing you will notice, the goods then go disappear in the market. Would you like that? So no. So you know what they cause the high prices? They are beginning to explain as the President don't explain to me. Oh, I know we know that. There are many of our brothers and sitting there in their ghettos who are not getting this message, Your Excellency, sir. So we need for improved communication methods. The last person there gets it. How? Why me not a communication expert? We try in your area, address people then in churches and mosques, then they listen to we. But there are a majority of our compatriots who cannot be reached by us. And therefore, we all need to sit down together and say how we will map out a way to reach them. And because we're not able to reach them, others are reaching them through the social media. There are voices where some people that they listen to as if not to a God. This is a fact. At least in my part of Freetown. President they speak or they don't care. But they listen to that person or those persons where they tell them, present them a different narrative. And so, how we go break that, reduce that gap, especially in relation to we youth. Somebody been start for visit ghettos. I don't know if now, which chief minister, but somebody may begin for visit the ghettos. I don't know whether this is the best approach, but we need for improve with communication. The Ministry of Information is doing it. There's no doubt about that. But they follow the weekly briefings. But there are hundreds, let me say millions, because now if you look at the population, there is a huge bracket there that consists of young people. Wait for be a blessing in our country. But somebody say, when you have youth boom, if you don't handle that well, it could become a doom for the nation. And this now one of the indicators, the events of 10th August will take seriously. So here, my own point is, my colleagues then will talk about it, now the issue of effective communication for reduce that gap where they make other people in the kind with different narratives, where they overturn all efforts by government or paint them differently. And so when you have a situation of young people unemployed, many of them uneducated, and somebody present them, say that their own story are the best and that the others are responsible for their economic situation, then you have a recipe for disaster. So my appeal to the President and others, law improve on the communication, not only through the traditional channels, but try as much as possible to reach out to the people out there who otherwise don't listen to the president when he make address to the nation. They don't watch any TV or listen to any FM station, and the one way they bring in the news what they like. And those people control the narrative for certain purpose. So now me on advise that. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the President, honorable ministers, colleague religious leaders, I want to tell His Excellency the President plenty thank you for this opportunity, because when this thing happened, before we issue the press release, we begin call each other what we for do, and we decided at least for issue the press release first. But before the press release, we don't discuss a lot of things. And I want to tell you, see, although people then they blame you as the head of state, but we ourselves get some blame. We see, say, we don't fail as religious people. Because what we see will happen now, an erosion of spiritual and religious values. Because both religions, they warn against committing sins. Well, the state we call them crime, offenses under the penal code, but we call them sin. And who is punishing that sin is the Almighty Allah, our God. Because it is prohibited in both religions to offend somebody or for harm somebody. If you go to the Holy Quran or you go to the Bible, there are so many verses about that. And this will then preach to the congregation. Say, even for backbite, it's a sin punishable. For backbite, I must say this man here and this man like this in his absence. So leave alone, you go out, you harm somebody. According to one of the prophetic hadiths, a Muslim should not even frighten a fellow Muslim. And Prophet said, what I mean by frightening, even where it's a map, for come you say, hey, they're scared. That is level, that is the standard where Islam they put. Even for scare up, we are committing a sin. So what we say, we need to go back and improve on the message in all the give, both the church and the mosque, for instill this fairness of God and the fairness of the day of judgment. Because in this world, it's possible you can escape the police or even this investigation, or His Excellency can pardon you. But we want to tell we people and say, that sin we don't commit, especially against a fellow human being, unless He forgive you. God not forgive you if you offend somebody. Even right, God is merciful. If you not pray, you know what yourself, He can forgive you. But if you take somebody in mobile phone, God say, pass Him forgive you, because not only get the mobile phone. So it's very serious. So imagine how many people they don't scared all over the country, or you don't cause for like millions get scared or deprive them from their normal business. So this is number one. We as religious people, for support with President, we talk about communication. We talk about dialogue now, how and when, and what is the topic of the dialogue we will get for engage. We use suggestion, the people that need for no more. We are doing a lot, but still, the other side, they do more than we. And human being always lack for being pessimistic. That is because our nature is Shaitan is always in our blood. So they try for push you towards the negative side. Always. Because you don't swear say get for sway away. So that people get for do more. For tell the people them exactly what they happen. I want to give you a small example. During a few months ago, where they talk about kidnappings in this country, the Intelligence Council will go see the IG, the former IG. We are very surprised. What they didn't tell me. It's actually kidnapping that take place. They give a story where one woman, a big man for money, a man no game, he take the kidnapping. The orange money number we give, not the money number. So if you don't even go to the IG, tell you that kind of story, they will all be not afraid. If it's so Imam will say, well, that 8 o'clock prayer, they want skip now because they're afraid that they don't kidnap them for money, for 2 million or 5 million. And I believe even Archbishop in the afraid for still late at night. But thank God we go to the former IG, explain, give it. And one of the executive members, he called me one day, said they're not kidnapping Gal Pekin. But end of the day, not to say it will happen. He late for Kana house, afraid in parents. Now they say let them see this drama, you know. So this is effective influence of communication, direct communication. And we get to go back to a Moxem and church and say no one know they kidnap you know they happen now. Because somebody even say well if they kidnap you, so they pull money and all that. So now as I talk tomorrow, by the grace of God, we get meeting with all political leaders through the PPRC. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock at the CCSL. We go straight to them and we engage them for love dialogue, for support what in be Bishop. They say, next after the political leaders, we get we list. We don't itemize we list. What we go discuss with them. We don't prepare ourselves for maintain the record way we get as interreligious council in this country for fight for peace and unity and reconciliation in this country. One of we executives in there, Sheikh Conte, personally he be involved in the 1997 peace process. Conte. There was a time somewhere in the north, then go for go make peace, and God help them. The rebels then vex, then go change Panam. As well they evacuate and Poland. So he's here. He knows what I'm saying. But again, another problem, Mr. President. The war been done 2002, and we are here in 2022. So 20 years has gone. Most of the young people were then born after 2002. They not sabi the bitterness of that war. So now it make we need for go back and tell them about how people them in the suffer that is country. Somebody can go out and say loud do this because they are young, 10, 15, 17, 18, 19, most of them. I make if you watch, you hardly see elderly people them that day out because they know what will happen. And the young people, the more they see, they go out. So we want to see different segments of society, Mr. President, the political leaders tomorrow. We get the trade unionists with all their categories. We are going to meet youth groups. We are going to meet women groups. We are going to meet professionals, and we are going to improve on our religious messaging through the church and the mosque, the Friday sermon and the Sunday services, to bring us back to that religious fairness so that you police yourself before you think about the state. Once again, we want to thank you very much, and we are with you because we believe in peace. The Friday after the riot, the Juma prayer most of the sermon will be focused on the importance of security and peace. I remember I led a prayer at one of the mosques. I talk about the importance of peace, and that Prophet Abraham, when he was sent to Mecca to build the Kaaba, he made a prayer, and his prayer was, "Oh Lord, make this country a peaceful country. Rabbi ij'al hadha baladan amin." And that was his first prayer. So we told our people, security is very expensive, it's very important. We need to maintain security. And after the Jummah prayer, some young people then came to me. They said, well, they thought Islam has nothing to do with security. It's only the police and the army, and I said, no, it is in the Quran. So that's why we need to go back and tell them about the importance of peace, unity, and security. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Alaji Baimbai, for that contribution day. And now we will just get short comments from the Minister of Social Welfare under the Supervisory Ministry for the religious leaders then.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Chief Minister, colleague minister present, senior advisors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Interreligious Council, good afternoon. I want to join Una for say a very big thank you to His Excellency for convening this meeting. And I really also want to thank Una very much for answer this call at such a short notice. We don't get any doubt for saying Una for being there elected because Una 2 hours before time. I'm very sure of that. We have listened to His Excellency talk, and I'm happy for the two contributions we will come from the mosque and from the Archbishop who represent the church. That the social issues have been shaken already. The lawlessness in this country been too much. So this just can't make the implications really don't just go above within it will be. And I'm very happy, sir, that you talk about going back for put fairness into we all. Because when you fear God, then you go really remember what you do. When Archbishop talk about communication, I always don't talk when we get trafficking in persons, meetings. There's always one thing I say, that the traffickers get a language we will not talk. So we need to begin talking their language. Because even with all the audio, the videos where they go, they make the rounds of with brother and sister, where they go, more people they still go. So I always say we need also for learn the language with the traffickers they use. When they able to convince them people also for go. Because what happened that day, to me, not to peaceful demonstration into we all, I mean just pure hate. A hate where if we are not careful, the next generation of this country will suffer. They will suffer. Because we begin and don't know nothing. We have a president. We don't put so much on education as it don't be the outline and they add because it hate you not talk about everything where you don't do. It's too much. It's really too much that this country will be so proud of this particular government. But unfortunately, we get people where they preach hate and we hate president talk about how powerful our voices be. I want for add say and when I get the largest congregation, any corner of this country where you pass, there is a mosque or a church. Now in village when there was no church, there be the meet now with veranda. Then we go there and put bench them. The pastor come. That whole morning we not able for enter we house on front. Just for make them keep a church in the village. Now we have a church. So Drea, you are most respected. Your congregation is huge. I am so happy for this meeting because when religious leaders join this fight, I think it gets easy. And I want to make a suggestion. I really suggest say after this meeting, we need to meet and really plan how we take this around the country because enough of stopping freedom. We still be beginning to come from Kamakwe. So that means then they're able for brainwashing for common any part of the country and can make problem in freedom. I am saddened really that this time engagement they happen because the engagement for BB for when we meet as religious leaders and tell the president thank you for what he done for this country. But we will continue for pray as we always don't do, and we will continue for preach the right messages because our voices as religious leaders will go far and with congregation they listen to it more. So, before I sit down, I want to go back to the message of instilling fairness, instilling our core values, because particularly into the beginning, because the future is them. So, let I end by saying a very big thank you to His Excellency the President and to UNICEF, because I'm extra proud today that we don't get for a read again about the contributions UNA don't make towards the peace process in this country. And when I'm going to continue to pray and preach the hard fact. Preach the hard fact. Some truth it's very difficult to talk. But as religious leaders, I know how brutally honest UNA can be. Because with the work, that honesty, that brutal honesty, now we will take around this country and talk to the beginning and talk about the good things where we know say this government did do because this government don't do so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Minister, for that comment there. I will now invite the Chief Minister for just can summarize the suggestions that will not take place and then the President will close the meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandin. Thank you very much, religious leaders. But from what I gather from the first thing I asked for, what the President said on talk, is the need for investigate and bring to book all those found wanting, all the players in this process. That should include the planners, the implementers, and the financiers. That work is in progress, and this is a very good suggestion. Then, more importantly, you believe we need for intensified and diversified communication and engagement with vulnerable groups and communities. I mean, we have to go beyond the press releases, we have to go beyond the press conferences, we have to go beyond the radio, the social media, and probably face people in their communities and let them understand. And as I can always say, from when they're born with a really lost prayer, every day with a really hard Fatiha. So we have to really keep going. But this time around, we have to stretch out and use unorthodox methods for communicate to people. But at least let people keep hearing on a daily basis. That's a very good suggestion. In the same line, you will now self-pledge say you can better communicate and you will do more in the church and in the mosque during your sermon time then. So we appreciate that. We just encourage you to go ahead with that. Then I also like this one that the Interreligious Council, the first group that we don't talk today about a plan and engagement program. This is something we appreciate. I just want to show you the government itself is planning a national engagement program where the Interreligious Council really fits part of them. I mean, we are designing a program where we look for financing both from government and from our partners. We are discussing with partners how do we increase public engagement. And key players like the Interreligious Council, therefore be key people that work for implement some component for we. Civil society groups and the different other government agencies. The Peace Commission will come now very soon for very serious meeting in that line. At the design stage, you will have a call now for make your input into the design and then even for validate the report itself. We'll work on that. Then I like this one where it talks most of the kids are like now they're 20 years after the war. Some not even see the war because some of them, let's see, take 11 years, 31 years back when the war started, 1991, and I agree with you that 20, 25 up to 30 years old, but then they're not going to know what will happen. Even when you are born by then, if you are 5 years, how much you know about the war? You may not know anything about the war. So maybe not said there, they don't hear me. Maybe we need to start for play and clips. Let everybody know what war means to this country. You see, because Salo is quick. We know the play and clips. They may see a clay factory camp, they may day, Fubikola camp, they may day, other camps, refugee camp. People suffer during the war. I really believe, see, that 3-4 days coffee we've been there around, you don't see some people, there's some lessons. See, if you fight, there's a coffee and more suffering. Because households then they will suffer past the way they suffer as a result of that coffee. But that suggestion for doing reflections of the war and what happens during the war is something we should encourage. MIC is here, the NASED, and they are obviously that suggestion they will take forward. But Your Excellency, these are the field highlight that we are getting from this. One, to seek justice, intensify and diversify communication and engagement, then do a reflections of the world, and how the world serve the impact of the war on communities. Then the necessary place here, they're going to intensify their own sermons and preachings and for make sure they reflect some of the things that they are not bad when they happen. Then they have an agenda for community consultations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Chief Minister. Now we will get His Excellency the President do the closing remarks.
Okay, I think in the form of my closing remark, I could just want to thank you again for being the great partners you've been to every government, and especially at this point in time when we need for work collectively for make sure peace continue for reign as alone. Most of what we want in our lives, not possible without peace and security. What we want for the kingdom, what we want in terms of development, is not possible without peace and security. So it's a public good where we need for contribute for make we get them. And you are great partners because of where you stand in society, and your voices are deep and loud and respected. So with a sick partnership with Una, either in your own way, like the arrangements there for meet different groups there, and we want to know whether they want to meet so that we will follow up and know this, because we want for make plenty people that know we want for show violence and say, when me and you will not agree, we go solve them. Now that make the constant day, now that make elections day, we go make choices better than violence. Violence has never solved problem. It can only aggravate them. So as we don't promise, we investigate the matter and we go take a logical conclusion, the one that way responsible. Because we carry big people them. And the other thing we are not being talk about, what we don't notice, now the total disregard for women there. The kind costs where people, they don't record daddy costs. As if not to a man or even just come up from the air condom. The kind cost there. The respectable person, if you put him out for anything, about this, now cost the cost. Just for, it don't become so much of a bad. All of this has been incited by a few people we're not in this country. And how, like we say, maybe there is a gap, a lacuna in our communication method where they make we young one then, they listen to the one then, the more we get a fellow woman or a shosu godon yeri Adebayo. They listen to him, then they gather. He said, tomorrow na Tumbo we dey go. The next day, you go hear problem na Tumbo. They will go burn the police station, kill person, set fire. Irrespective of the Juma, the Kutuba Umna cannot make, when I point them, arrange them, when I do this, Reverend, Bishop, then go there, they quote from the Bible and tell them, we for live peacefully. Then your message seems for the sink deeper than we own. So there is something, it's a societal problem. We need much reflection, and that make we say, we have many heads and better heads, and we can able to do this much better together. But I want to thank you, in the midst of the many things, for the press release we will not make. We see me say a surprise because I get so many, and it would have been the biggest surprise for me for make the Interreligious Council not don't make that statement, because I know when I stands, and like I say, when I don't establish a position in the annals of the history of this country, and it should be maintained as a force for good. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to each one of you now. This is just a way for stimulate debate and maybe question, interrogate ourselves. What is it that we are not getting right? And the 2 points, the issues that we don't raise are quite compelling, valid. And we don't note them, and we definitely will respond to them as we continue. We put all of this together so that we will respond appropriately and see what we will do. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency.